final talking point here is Erling Haaland. That is questionable. Whether or not Barca can even afford him. I'm not going to talk about the La Liga limit that came out today. I not only want to get more information on that, but I'm not going to concern myself with that until I can completely understand it. Let's put it that way. But Messi's situation at PSG is real bad. Real bad. So we're going to talk about hypotheticals here because he was booed in a 3-0 win after getting knocked out of the Champions League by Real Madrid. So obviously Kylian Mbappe heading to Real Madrid in the offseason. Neymar at PSG, I mean, that is not to say that relationship is over.
They booed Neymar too when he scored.
Right. So Messi's situation, well, Barcelona would, I mean, unless Bartomeu comes back as president somehow, Neymar is not returning, or Sander Rizal, by the way, or comes back. Neymar is not returning to Barcelona. But Messi's situation is a question mark, right? And I just want to talk about, because this is a podcast, so we're allowed to do things like this. I would want to talk about this through the lens of money and talk about it through the lens of what Barca can afford and be logical and reasonable. But Emile, I want to give you space to not be reasonable and just Messi return to Barcelona next year, or what does owe him? Where would he be? How would he fit? Would that make any sense for anybody other than Messi?
So I would love to bring Leo home. I mean, if there is any way to financially make it work, I think it should be done, because I think so in a practical sense too, I think this year without Messi, or this season without Messi, the year without Messi has been, I think, hugely valuable from the perspective of the players who were here previously and, you know, all the guys that were accused of the Messi dependencia, and then all the young guys who have, whether they've graduated up, you know, from La Masia or, you know, come in, everyone's had this experience of the cavalry's not coming. Like, Messi is not here to save you and score the goal or make the inch perfect pass. So you guys are going to have to figure this out. And they are. There is a part of me that genuinely believes that after this year away, I think this year has probably had its impact on Messi. I don't, you know, none of us know the man. None of us know exactly what's ticking inside of him. But I can't imagine that this is, never mind what he expected. I mean, this is like, it's just an abject disaster. And, you know, just given how great a passer he is, how great a facilitator he is too, I think from a practical perspective, if you could integrate kind of older Twilight Messi into this team, I think it would be absolutely spectacular. And
I don't know where though. I don't know where, because when I broke down Osasuna, right, he's not the guy that's going to drop in as even if he were to play false nine, he's not going to drop in and deliver in that way. He's not going to consistently make those runs in behind in half space and behind the back lines that the high interiors in Xavi's system are expected to do. He's not going to completely stay wide as Xavi's wingers like to do. So at some point, it's not even Messi de Bencia, but you were going to be required to change your game for him. So if he returned to Barcelona, it would be ceremonial, and it would be to be the most impressive bench option that has ever existed, basically. But he's not going to be that either, because he's going to start most of the time, right?
No, I mean, I think he would start, but I do think it would be because I do think the one byproduct of this season in Paris that he's had, and just particularly this last couple of weeks with them getting dumped out of the Champions League and then this last game against Bordeaux, I mean, Messi has never been purely sort of humbled like this. Mm-hmm. You know, I mean, just short of, Messi has only gotten booed in the last decade because he has obliterated someone else's team. Like, you were mad at him because he was too good, but not because he wasn't good enough for your team. So this has to have had some sort of a humbling effect. One would imagine. I mean, I can only surmise that. And I do think that if he came back, I think it would be as a starter, but I don't think it would be exactly what the Barca of the past, you know, handful of years look like, particularly the post Neymar Barca. Yeah. I think he would be more of you put him on the right, sort of in that Adama Dembele place, you know, you let him cut in on his left. He He's going to float a little bit because he's Lionel Messi and he's back at FC Barcelona, and that's, it's a rite of passage. But I think he would be the ultimate sort of playmaker, and I think it would actually be perfect. I think he got the year away to both sort of come to grips with this football mortality and see sort of how the other half lives and what it's like when you join someone else's team. And I think in the meantime, all the seeds of this next generation of Barca have really begun to take root. And you have the veterans who've kind of regained a lot of their confidence and their poise. And Dani Alves is back. Man, bring Leo home.
Yeah, I mean, listen, that was not I know I'd seen the team approach that I would be worried about Lionel Messi rejoining Barcelona the way that they're playing right now. But also, yes, it's true that we see that Ronaldo still has something in his legs, and we know that Messi still has a lot left to give to the game. He is 34 years old, and that is
but he didn't get bad over the summer.
Correct. He was still Barcelona's best player a season ago. And you're right. I think if anyone's going to make it work with Messi, it would be Xavi. And you're right as well that just because Adama and Dembele keeping that right side like really wide, in theory, that would make sense. But they do that so that those two players who profile that way have a long runway to run at defenders. Right. And still, Barcelona, not say that they wouldn't have to change what they do much, but if you put him as that right winger and Pedri and Gavi, because Pedri has improved since Messi left. He's taken a step. He's taken a leap forward, and he's a better player even than Messi when Messi left. And when you have Pedri and Gavi running for you, if you will, for in the case of Lionel Messi, I'm a little worried about 34-year-old Messi and 38-year-old Alves defending that right side against certain players.
Sure.
And I know that Dest and Messi, there was just something that, Dest wasn't really able to get up to the level that was required defensively and offensively to cover for that. But again, when Araujo is the right center back, now you're talking about something that is doable and possible. And why Araujo, I think, had to make that leap last year was because he would have to defend shading to the right because of the space left in behind by Messi. Or when Messi would be cutting in, obviously, then Dest would try to overlap. And now you've got way too much room on that right side. And then kind of got the best out of Araujo in that way. But yes, to your point, Emile, for sure, that no offense to Adama Traore or to Dembele, but because of Messi's close control, his dribbling ability in the middle of the field, in small spaces, we're not talking about going one-on-one against an opponent because that really hasn't been his game now in a few seasons. He's not that way at the age of 30. No. His game is shifting, but his close control, his touch has not changed. His touch is still one of the most incredible in the world. So you're right. By overloading that left sideline, keeping at least your left winger super wide on that touchline and building play the way that they're continuing to build up play, which is that third man run through the left side of the field they've been doing since Xavi arrived. That's going to give Messi the entire right side to play with. And by bringing in, whether it's Alves or it's Dest, by bringing that right back in and inverting him as a midfielder to defend those clearances that way, you're giving Messi the ability to defend when he needs to have this, just again, a wide open space. And when you give Messi that kind of space in the middle third or the middle right third of the field, then Messi is going to be devastating again, but it doesn't all have to be on him this time because of the way that this team is clicking. There's just so much happening that didn't happen when Messi was here. And I would be stupid to doubt the greatest player of all time. So it is not an anti. I want to immediately go and say I know I had an anti-Messi argument because there is a case where you add Messi back into the fold and then it becomes about him. The way that PSG just didn't really. It seems like they want it to be about Mbappe, but because he plays, it doesn't have to be at Mbappe, and it's never going to be about Neymar. And so it kind of became about Messi by default, and it's jointed. And so I think the leaders at Barcelona are back to understanding their roles and playing within their roles and not having to do too much to cover for Messi. And if he returned, I just want him to return within this system. And I think he'd be capable of doing 100%. That. Unlike your guy, Russell Westbrook, who it's the difference, right? The big difference is that Messi, they're both taking boos this year. They both went to the big show where the lights are brightest, and they both have struggled. So Westbrook, Messi, two of the all-time greats. Certainly not comparing the two. Westbrook is
but I think
a little bit lower on that here. But
I think there is an interesting thing, though, that I think with Messi, it's you see the system, and like you're talking about, there's a coherent approach and a system in which Messi ages spectacularly and, can probably play till he's like 38. And, you tweak his role and you put less on his plate over time. But I think Messi is more, as much as he, does float and freestyle and everything else, but I think Messi's tactical knowledge is just so acute and so comprehensive. Whereas, because I do think there is an apt comparison between him and Russell Westbrook, but the thing is, Russell Westbrook's system is like, just let Russ do stuff, just it's his. And the problem is that as his ability to finish at the rim has deserted him, as his shot has either not gotten better or gotten worse, there was never like a real sort of
plan B.
I don't want to say like he has no tactical acumen, but he doesn't take a purely kind of tactical approach to the game. Like, he's in a way sort of, Russell Westbrook is still a superior athlete to Nikola Jokic, and Nikola Jokic is breaking basketball nightly.
And listen, and it's a lesson, right? When you're in your mid-30s, you either have to change and adapt at your age, or your career's over and you're done. And that's where Ronaldo, I can't believe that is, but to his credit, he's basically just become a poaching goal scorer, and that's what
he's just a number 9. Right?
Yeah, I mean, he's still an incredible athlete, even in his late 30s. But yeah, he's just become a number 9, and that is exactly what he is. And he still continued to be, not say valuable, because he hasn't been great either, but he's not been great in the ways that people have expected him to be great in the past, but he's been great in the ways that he's now affecting games. And that is just to put him back on as a poacher. And that's going to be the same question of Messi, where for so long, everything was on him. He could do a lot of different things. He could run past players. He could defend as well. He could work hard and run more than anybody else on the field. And as he continues to age, we've seen it for the last 3-4 years, as he continues to age and continues to get longer in the tooth, how will his game adapt? And no offense to Westbrook, but again, I want to also reiterate, death threats his family receiving are disgusting. People are terrible. People are monsters. But also, Westbrook does not help himself, not about the death threats, but about the other reasonable criticism. He has not helped himself because he has
like the complaining about Westbrook.
right. But he's I just mean, like, he doesn't set screens for people. He does not.
No.
Like, he has not adapted his game to survive in the league in a way that even Carmelo Anthony did, because Carmelo Anthony became a spot up shooter in a way that we never expected him to do. Really, I just always thought he was going to call for it on the baseline, and that little 12 to 15 to 18 foot turnaround baseline was just always going to be, he was going to do in isolation.
Yeah, just go triple threat, jab.
He stopped. Not that he stopped doing that, but he run. I mean, they do that for him 2 or 3 times just to make sure he's still paying attention. But by and large, he just changed his game. And so the question for Messi is going to be: it's definitely not going to happen now at PSG. Not to say change his game, but PSG now has a system, because of Neymar, even, that in theory was built for Messi, but has not garnered any results out of Messi. And even then, because of PSG's dominance in the French league, their only way, I mean, again, their only path forward, and because of the nature of even PSG and where their money comes from, the only nature of their success comes from the Champions League. That's it. Yeah. Champions League. That's it. That's the only way that anyone is ever going to clap for you and be proud of you, PSG, because you spend all your time sports washing, and you know your money comes from. And so if he came back from Barcelona, it would just, all the feels, all the vibes would just matter. And now, I mean, we say all this because the quote unquote money wouldn't matter in this case. The whatever it was, right? Like so much would be forgotten. It's just, whether or not Messi and not when a matter, but in what manner would he return, and what success could Barcelona have? Because I even saw somebody ask a question like, how has PSG affected Messi's legacy? And I was like, are you crazy? Like, he was the best player of all time 3 years ago. That's it.
So I had this thought actually when I was between the second leg against Real Madrid and then the Bordeaux game where they were booing him. And I remember thinking that just given the evolution of culture and how people formulate opinions and stuff like that, I was just waiting. Thankfully, I hadn't seen it, but I was just thinking that, are people going to start piping up with, these 6 months have undone the most mind-bending 18 years or 16 years or whatever that we've ever seen.
Let's second guess some of those Ballon d'Ors because
absolutely.
They got knocked
Yeah.
out in another. Well, yeah, I mean, he is a player. Unfortunately, for a certain generation, though, is going to be remembered for all of the what ifs in the Champions League, and that is what he's going to be
Yeah.
remembered for. Because whether Barcelona or PSG now, so many times they had it and then they didn't.
Yeah.
By that, now it's not about Barcelona; it's about he had it and then he didn't. And there's going to be a generation that's going to remember him in that way because there is a what if where it is crazy to say though, unfortunately, that if you play Messi's career out 10 times, you actually are getting to a point where 6 of those times might be better. 6 of those times he wins more Champions League. Maybe not individual
Yeah.
trophies, but 6 of
Yeah.
those he has better careers. He wins more Champions Leagues and he even has
Hmm.
more international success. If you play his career out 10 times, 6 times, he wins a World Cup in 2 of those 10 times or 3 of those 10 times.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Well, I
Like,
mean,
and
there's
that's
no
the
way
crazy
he
about
waits
Messi.
until
Yeah.
there's no way he waits until he's what 32, 33 to even win the Copa America.
Right. Yep. So, and that's the crazy about Messi that his career could have been even better than it was
Yeah.
when he individually was the best player